You're listening to the Daily Fill, episode number 128. Today we're talking about battle plans. Do you plan your week or do you plan your day? Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Fill. My name is Richard Ducat and I am your host. Today's quote: "Success is how high you bounce when you hit bottom." That's coming from General George S. Patton. Look him up. The guy is insane. He led World War II. Just genius general. Set a lot of standards for how we do things today. Check him out. Big shout out to our sponsor, Mike Martin over at Predator Percussion Stave Drums. I talk about it every week. They go above and beyond with every piece of art they put together. Their drums are artwork. It's pure creativity, spoken in the form of a custom stave snare drum. That means he's putting these drums together block by block. It's insane the amount of work that goes into it. Just, you ever seen a stave drum? Holy shit, they're sick. They're super sick, so check it out. We're running a contest right now with Mike. You gotta go to snare.drummersilike.net. 3 easy steps to enter the contest. You could win a custom Brazilian pecan stave snare. It's beautiful. One of my favorite things ever is doing contests. I love it. I love giving back. It's a lot of fun, but giving away a snare that costs roughly $1,500 to $2,000 feels good. So big ups to Mike over at Predator Percussion. They sponsor the show. We work really closely together. Check it out. It's predatorpercussion.com if you want to check out the things he's done, his work. If you want to schedule a build with him, he's doing great things for us. Love him to death. I got a couple great snares. I got a 17 by 25 Predator stave snare. I know it's a 14 by 7 red oak. It screams. It's so loud. I got it to kind of replace my aluminum drum to see if it could compete, and it just blows it out of the water. Second drum, I just got it. It's a 5 by 14 maple. It's got a purple burst stain on it. It is beautiful. I've been playing it. You can check it out on my personal Instagram at Rich Ducat. We posted a couple videos, but it's beautiful. It's snare.drummersilike.net to get hooked up with that. Trying something new today, by the way. I got the mic a little bit lower. I'm trying to speak a little bit louder so we can get a little more of my face in the video this week. We're talking about battle plans this week. Now, I think 3 months back when I started the DRUMTREPRENEURS series, I went through like scheduling your week and talked a little bit about the details and what I do every day and what I do every week. And I'm just gonna say, since then, it's gone up tenfold, because I think when I did that, I was still working out of my mastery journal, which all 100 days are done. It's a lot of work. Look at this. So let me break that down, how this works. This kind of started it off with the battle plan, and it's just like a day sheet. You write a morning routine out the night before. You write out 4 actionable things you're gonna do during the day. You keep track, you score yourself, you do it every day, you keep track of those scores, so on and so forth. After 100 days, you see those scores, you see how much productivity you've gained, where you're at. This book did a ton for me, because I was writing notes, I was creating my own systems. This really got me on par, and after this, I mean, for a week straight, I was kind of like, what do I do next? What's next? You know, what do I do next? Kind of scares me. Well, a lot of people have heard me talk about my business partner. She's a chaplain for the United States military. She's very successful, self-made millionaire, insane success. Something she got me into were things that she called, and it's funny because she's in the military, she calls them battle plans. And she talks about having these weekly battle plans, and she talks about having these daily battle plans. Now, when she first told me, what's your battle plan, I gotta admit, I got really excited, because it made me think of a way that now I can brand my routine. And there's something about branding to me. I think it's super cool. If like you make something feel awesome, you're gonna feel a lot more inclined to go do it. So branding my daily routines as battle plans is like the coolest fucking thing I'd ever heard of. So I jumped on it right away. I jumped on it right away. I started doing these daily battle plans and these weekly battle plans based off of these core segments in my life. So I start with my wife, that's spouse. I go second with my son, parental. I go after that. I'll just show you. From there, I go into family. I got self. I got house chores, bills. I got drummers I like. I got all my other companies, all the other things I'm working on, my clients. I've got things that I call non-negotiables, which are things that I have to do no matter what. Those are going to happen. But basically every week I line out everything that's most important, all the things I have to do. And at first it was just my business. It's just drummers I like, digital sync, clients, etc. Then I started thinking, how can I use this formula to really enhance my life? So I started doing it with my life. I created a formula for my chores at the house, the things I had to do to keep clean with the kitchen, the outside yard, etc., so on and so forth. I have a decently sized house, so it's a lot to think about. There's a lot to manage. And if you don't have a system for it, I mean, it fails. So I created like a battle plan system for that I follow every week. I created one for my pets, one for my yard, one for my bills, my finances. Every little thing I could think of. Let's systemize it all. Let's create a battle plan for every portion of our lives. So I did it, and I follow it really specifically. But the first problem I ran into was, I love doing these. I love checking boxes off. Right? I think there's something really powerful about creating a task, completing it, and then checking it off. Like done, hard drive, delete, trash, peace, see ya. There's something powerful about that to me. So I figured, how could I really enhance this? And sure enough, on a phone call with my partner, we're talking about these battle plans, and I said, "What do you do to, hold yourself accountable every day?" She said, "What are you, stupid? You got to do a daily battle plan. You can't just do one. You've got to have a plan every day." And I read a bunch of Michael Hyatt stuff a couple months back, and he talked about planning your day by every 15 minutes. It's really hard for me to do that because some of the things that I do require 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 45 minutes. And I didn't want to waste productivity by 7:15 to 7:30. I'm doing this. 7:30 to 7:45, still doing this. 7:45 to 8, still doing this. So I started doing tasks by hours and giving myself an allotted time. If I don't finish it, I don't finish it. And that was my daily battle plan. I'd literally have 5 a.m., wake up, 5:30, morning routine, walk dog, run the dog, etc., etc., etc. Here it is. I'll show you. I will show you. See this? This is the weekly. This is the daily. See the check boxes? The check boxes are the most important part, at least for me, and I think for a lot of people, because it allows you to hold yourself accountable every day. And the way that I break this up is I create these daily systems that I have to follow, and I break them down. I take tasks. How much can I really get done of this? How much can I get done of this? How much can I get done of this? Where can this go? Where can this go? Where can this go? Where can this go? And from there, I developed these systems, which we talked about a couple months back during the DRUMTREPRENEURS series, having a day for content, having a day for recording, for scheduling, having a day for family, hours set out for all these things. Even when I said it then, I wasn't like really living it, right? Well, now I am. I'm like living it to the full extent, and it is not easy. But when you have a system figured out, when like you know what you want, it makes shit like this really easy to figure out. I detailed everything that I wanted, and I'll add a little bonus in here. Something that really helps with figuring out what to put in those time slots is that you have to start thinking about the tasks that you do and how they affect your life. So is this a money-making task? Is this a task of automation for my life or for my business, something that can make things easier? So for example, scheduling out your social media for the week with Hootsuite or Buffer, an app like that, or hiring someone to mow your lawn every week so you don't have to take that task out. You're delegating, you're getting stuff off your hands that you necessarily don't need to do, and you figure out which those tasks are important by the system, the money-making system, the automating the system, and is the content or the actions you're doing creating sellable materials for your business. So you either want to do things that make you money, things that automate you to, take more time to make more money, or create content or do actions. That's the, that'd be the other side, the physical aspect of it, that create money for you. So when I started doing that, I started thinking, okay, how can I blend that into my life? Like what's an action that's going to create more love in my relationship? What's something that's going to automate an aspect of my son's life maybe that he hasn't figured out yet, so that, for example, I don't have to keep pulling his pants up and down every time he goes to the bathroom. I got to figure out how to do that for him so that 4 times a day, he doesn't go to the bathroom and come out and say, "Hey, Dad, can you pull my pants up?" Like he's capable of doing it. I've got to create the task, the action to set in motion the tasks that he needs to do to figure out how to do this. Then it takes more time off my hand. Get what I'm saying? So that's how I break that up. That's how I figure out those tasks. And most importantly, that's how I balance my week. Like I couldn't live without the battle plan. And I've become so strict about it that I kind of feel like when I was a kid, my parents had all these chores and all these strict shit that I hated doing. That really set me up to be prepared for things like this, because now I know the importance of time and how important it is for me to sacrifice and to make time for things that matter most, and things like work, the family, knowing when those things need to be balanced correctly, because not every day is the same for us. A lot of us are at a 9 to 5, so we don't really have a choice to plan out our day. We're really stuck to planning out our mornings and our nights. But for those of us that are in school right now, those of us that are actually working a freelance job, you're working from home, this shit's going to keep you accountable. And don't think that if you're at a 9 to 5, you're working for a corporation, a company, that something like this isn't going to help you. It's just going to elevate you. You come into work one day and your boss sees that you're 10 steps ahead of him. Well, what's that going to mean for you? It's going to mean promotions. It's going to mean more money, respect. You're going to move up in that company probably. There's so many ways that this really applies. And I want you to take this across the board. Think about your daily battle plan. Let's go over it one more time. I have everything broken down to my wife, my son, my family members that I need to contact, myself, like personal things that I need to do for my positivity, to be happy, mental health, physical health. I've got my home stuff, the kitchen, the pet area, the yard. I've got fucking everything in here for my house. Or I will forget, my house will fall apart. It's ridiculous. I'm not good at that kind of stuff. The pets, from when I feed them, the schedule, all that stuff's written in there. I check off every time I've done all that stuff. Everything from my bills to my side hustle. I love this one. Side hustle is my favorite because I try to keep that one really little so that I can add in a new task. Like a side hustle task would be find a new client this week. If I find a new client, then I can move them into the client board. That brings a task down. I can add something in, like maybe find another client or find someone to delegate my clients to. So many opportunities for the side hustle. And then below that, I always leave this last. It's like family, friends first, home stuff, finances, bills second, and then your business, your career, all those things last, because they do, for me, they take up the majority of the page, but I don't want them to be the entirety of the page. This is something I thought about too a couple weeks back. How much time do I spend working? How much time do I spend sleeping? And how much time do I spend with my family? I broke all those numbers down and I found the average that I wanted. I want to spend more than 50% of my life with my kids, with my wife, with my family. I don't want to be working 50% of the time. I know I got to put a little extra time in now, but I don't want to sacrifice these moments just so I could get an extra podcast done. Fuck that. I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is making sure that in 15 years, I'm going to be successful no matter what, because that's my goal. That's my motivation. That's my drive. But I don't want 15 years to go by and I look back and all my time was spent in here on this computer looking at stuff. I don't want my son to go to school in 2 years and draw pictures of his dad on a computer. It's going to break my heart. I don't want that. So I know that if I don't think ahead, something like that could happen because I'm a workaholic. So you've got to put these things into play. You've got to do your daily battle plan. You've got to do your weekly battle plan. And you've got to hold yourself accountable because no one else gives a shit. Your mom, your dad, your cousins, your uncles, your friends, your boss, your best friend. No one gives a shit about your success but you. So you've got to hold yourself accountable. I know that I have got to hold myself accountable. Sometimes I'd look for motivation in my wife or my kids or get other people to jump me up off the rock. It's not going to happen. You've got to do it yourself. It's all about what's inside, the bullshit you're willing to put aside to give yourself the motivation to create the actions that give you the success that you need. And you need that success, especially if you want to be a drumtrepreneur, if you want to play drums forever, if you really want to make this a career that is real, because I'll be the first to tell you, I've toured, I've met every drummer you could think of that's created successes beyond belief. And guess what? They don't just play drums. They have products, they have side hustles, they have a business. They might actually work a 9 to 5. Think about all the football players that got done with their football career, then started selling cars. That's a real thing. It's because success and all that shit, it's not going to last forever. You've got to continue to create the next pedestal to go to, the next hustle, the next idea, the next success. You don't want to stop. You do not want to stop. Think about Colonel Sanders, man. He didn't get that deal on the fried chicken until his 60s. Thousands and thousands of times denied. We don't want your chicken. Finally got it. Boom. What do you eat? What'd you eat last week if you ate fried chicken? You probably ate KFC. I would have ate Popeyes myself. It's just my favorite. I like that Cajun shit. It's great. But likely, if you ate fried chicken, you ate KFC. And that idea was born off 1,000 tries, 1,000 attempts of a man in his 60s. So know that if you don't hold yourself accountable, if you don't drive yourself every day, nothing's going to get done. You're not going to create the success that you deserve. And you're not going to be able to hold yourself accountable so that when you look back in 15 years, you're not like, shit, I smoked way too much pot. I played way too much Xbox. I dicked around on the weekends too much, got drunk with my friends, chased too much tail, blah, 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 got me nothing. You don't want to think like that. You want to think that you played drums, that you built your skill set, that you networked, you connected, you created extreme success for yourself and for others, and allowed yourself the life that you deserve. That all comes from the battle plan. That all comes from thinking ahead, planning your future, planning ahead. Failing to plan is planning to fail. I could say that 100 times. It's real. And I am a spitting example of someone who didn't fucking plan ever and failed hundreds of times. To this day, I miss on planning for things that should be planned for. And it's a step every day to make sure we get those things done. So take the action now. Start with the week. Then go to the day. Go a little bit at a time. Remember, small steps equal extreme leaps. Giant leaps. All right, everybody. I'm going to ring us out here. We're about 14 minutes into the show. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Predator Percussion Contest. As you know, I talked about it before. We're giving away a Brazilian pecan stave snare. It is beautiful. I've been watching Mike build it. If you've been following us on social media, on Instagram, at Drummers I Like, we're consistently posting build photos. Mike is posting even more build photos. Like, everything he's talking about is this contest. Thank you, Mike. Check him out. It's at Predator Percussion. At Predator Percussion is... he's the man. I mean, his company is not at Predator Percussion, but, check him out. Mike Martin's the owner. He's a spitting example of just a wholesome business owner and someone who does what they do because they love it. He's not here to make money, and he doesn't make that much money doing this. None of these drum guys do. You think Mike from SJC is some millionaire? He's not. He's hustling just as hard. Well, he might be now. I don't know, because he's smart and he really worked hard to get what he's got right now. But it's not easy. It takes a lot of work. It takes multiple approaches, because so what? You make a bunch of fucking money. That means you scaled. Well, you got to hire people, so you got to pay them. So there goes all your money. Think about that. That all comes from the battle plan too. All that. So Mike's the man. He's investing almost $2,000 into this contest so he can build brand awareness for his company. And guess what? That's not even that much money. Because in the grand scheme of things, if Mike wants his company to be as big as Mapex or as big as Yamaha or all the other big mafia players, he's going to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on product and free stuff and advertisement, because that's the way it works in a business. And he's already planned ahead. He's already thought about those things. That's why we're structuring everything to work out in his favor. That's why we're doing this contest. That's why we're working together, because we both see eye to eye. We both work for the same goals, and that's success. We provide for each other. So I need you to go to snare.drummersilike.net right now. It's 3 easy steps. You got to go comment on the contest photo, which is actually a couple weeks old. We're going to have to update that thing. You got to leave a Facebook post with a link to the show, to the iTunes show, the podcast, and then you've got to give us your name and your email so we could spam you 1 million emails a day. I'm going to send you pictures of my wedding. I'm going to send you pictures of my next door neighbor, Jack. He likes volleyball. It's really weird. I watched him play volleyball. He plays with a brown volleyball, and it blows up eggs. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. But you got to do it. You got to enter for this contest, because it's going to be really worth it, man. I can't wait to see that snare go to that winner. The excitement. I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to see it. And I'm sure Mike feels the same way. So check it out. It's snare.drummersilike.net. You can find more out about Predator Percussion at predatorpercussion.com. Super duper cool. Awesome. I also want to talk a little bit about last week's podcast with Christina Schiano. Super cool, super entrepreneurial. She's a hustler for sure. She owns her own business. She's got millions of views on YouTube, over 250,000 subscribers. I mean, I post a video on the Instagram of her and it gets 100,000 views in 24 hours. It's insane. The girl's got pull. She's marketable. She's super smart. She's a drumtrepreneur, and the show was just super sick. Speaking of shows, speaking of drumtrepreneurs, this Friday, we're talking with the Italian drummer himself, Marco Sorigliano. I said it right because I practiced saying his name like 100 times at this point. But dude, the chat was awesome. We talked to him last week. Another entrepreneur, another hustler, someone who's really going 110% in his craft. And you'll hear it in his story. Like, you always hear about these famous people that were obsessed. That's what Marco is. Marco is fucking obsessed. Like, he really cares about drums. He cares about creating content, but most importantly, he cares about creating the community around him, because he knows, once again, you can't do it alone. You've got to have a network. You've got to have people that back you, that believe in you, that want to help you do what you want to do. So check it out. It's going to go live this Friday. It's going to be drummersilike.net/podcast 82. Yeah, 82. Marco Sorigliano. Go check him out. That's his Instagram. Check out Christina Schiano. It's at Schiano with 3 O's, I think. Marco Sorigliano, Cirigliano. Damn, I'm good. That's that Paisano power right there. Check it out, though. Great show. Once again, big shout out to Predator Percussion. Love you guys to death. And remember, you're a drumtrepreneur, no matter what you think. If you're trying to play drums, if you want to make this your life, you're a drumtrepreneur. So keep that in mind, and we'll see you next week. What's up, drumtrepreneurs? You just caught a fresh episode of The Daily Fill. Just want to remind you that you can find us on social media. For Twitter and Instagram, it's @DrummersILike, and for Facebook, it's facebook.com/DrummersILike. Listen, Drumtrepreneurs, I need you to stay motivated. I need you to hustle. I need you to grind. I need you to put in 110% this week. Because if you're not focused on your goals and your efforts, you're not focused on being a drumtrepreneur, then what the hell are you focused on? Come on, let's get with it. We'll see you next week.